Well, hello. I hope you are all doing well. My name is Mon, and I am bringing you another Life is Strange video today. And what I am bringing you is a trailer analysis. Now, I've played Life is Strange since the very beginning, and way back in the day, I used to be a blogger on Tumblr, and I used to do these between every episode. I used to analyse the trailers, analyse the games, and basically just like write theories and like predict what's going to happen. It's purely for fun. I really wanted to do it again with Reunion, mainly because I always regretted not doing it on YouTube when the first game was out. And the reason why was just because I didn't have the confidence, simply. So with Reunion coming out, I have the opportunity to go full circle and do this stuff again, but on YouTube this time. When we used to do it back on Tumblr, it was pretty fun. A lot of people did like to join in. So I'm going to do it again on YouTube. And if you want to join in, you're more than welcome. We only have one rule here, and that is leave all negative energy at the door. The purpose of doing this is just for fun, to write theories, and also just to like fill in the time between when the game comes out. So we're going to be looking at the trailer in this video. I did want to look at the whole stream, but I just didn't have enough time to write notes on the two of them. So we're going to do the trailer first, and we're going to do the stream again a bit later. So we're just going to look at little details in the trailer and just see if we spot anything that was missed before. Try and suss out like what is happening, what's going to happen. Basically what we used to do was we used to make a bingo card with all these theories before the game came out. And then when it would happen, we'd be like, we got it right, we got it right. This is just purely for fun and discussion, and if you want to join in, you are more than welcome. If this is not for you, then I will see you in another video, I hope. Right, so jumping into the trailer, and I gotta say, whether it was Donut or Deck 9, they have always nailed the trailers. The trailers are just perfect. They suck you right in. Oh. Let's get started. Okay, this I found interesting because I was kind of thinking we might get another nightmare sequence. So the end of Double Exposure, and you have to forgive me, I'm very rusty. I didn't have the time to replay Double Exposure prior to this. We had the whole bathroom sequence in episode 5, and obviously that whole sequence, like with the Blackwell bathroom and all that, that would have been probably like one of the biggest things leading us into Reunion. So I reckon we're going to get a very similar nightmare sequence, like kind of like what was towards the end of episode 5 in Polarized. Potentially get a new version of the final scene and all that. It is crazy to see the lighthouse, like after all these years. It is so crazy. Side note here, when the trailer first launched, I actually thought this was the Blackwell car park. It looked a lot like the Blackwell car park, and it brought me mentally straight back to episodes 3 and 4 of the original game. I know it's not, I know it's Caldon, but like it triggered a nostalgic thing in my head. So I just wanted to point that out.
I thought the storm would be the worst thing to hit Caledon.
Okay, so looking at, right, so we see the protest. So I am not sure what building this is. If I remember correctly, I think this could be the astrology building. Is that the right one, astrology? Anyway, this could be the building where they went stargazing in Double Exposure because of the statue. I'm pretty sure that's the statue that she took the photo of the owl on. Anyway, so the building is already boarded up. And then if you have a look at the signs, so we have Stop the Lies, Down with Abraxas, No Demolition, and we later see in the reveal stream that a demolition is happening. So I think it's like the Abraxas house or something like that. I don't understand how these societies work. We don't have them where I live. So I guess it's the Abraxas house that's being demolished. But anyway, yeah, it's like a very split protest. They don't want a demolition of what appears to be the Abraxas house, but yet everyone is saying like down with Abraxas. I'm pretty sure that could be the building. As I said, I haven't been able to look at Double Exposure, but I'm pretty sure that's the same statue Max took the photo at before Safi was killed. So I find this interesting. One of the biggest complaints in Double Exposure was that Abraxas was just very pointless. Like it felt like a big build up to it. Like it was supposed to be their version of the Vortex Club, and it was never addressed. And I think that this story is going to branch out to a whole new storyline. I think a whole new story is going to branch out, and it's going to be Abraxas based. And said story, I think it's going to have little or nothing to do with double exposure. Again, I've said this many times, but like I feel like when I look at double exposure now and look at the footage we have of Reunion so far, when I think of double exposure, all I can think of is breadcrumbs. Like, I just feel like now double exposure was made to just, you know, sprinkle the breadcrumbs, you know? And the big story was Reunion.
Dawn. But now, I only have 3 days.
Now there's something interesting, okay? Every freaking building is on fire. Every freaking building. And the fucking size of the fire too. So I know they said it's going to be a bit of the mystery of this game is going to be what starts the fire. So like Max thinks it's arson. It could be like people wanting to spread a message. I apologise for the cat behind me. Like angry members of the community or something. With a fire of that magnitude, you can see here, like she's facing the fire ahead of her and of the orange glow. So there's fire behind her too. That was either done by multiple people or one person with powers. And let's be honest, it's Life is Strange. It's probably one person with powers that did it. There's a lot of talk about how Diamond was not included in any of the footage. And I think that's a bit interesting. Now, I don't know. I've seen some people say that Diamond might have fire powers, but I can't really see it, to be honest. I'm calling it early, and I think it's Safi, to be honest. With the fire of the magnitude we see in the trailer, I think it's definitely one person with powers, or else it's they pissed off a lot of people and they teamed up together.
To save everyone.
Help! Moses!
Okay, I gotta say here as well, this game is stunning. The fire, the graphics, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. If you notice, Moses has Chloe. And one thing I thought of was, is this going to be like kind of like a repeat kind of pattern from the first game where in that moment she doesn't realise that's Chloe and then she rewinds and then she finds out later it's Chloe? I don't think that's the case, but that's one thing that did cross my mind. That explosion definitely indicates that Chloe could possibly die in the fire. And that's the one thing I find really interesting. What approach they're going to take to the consequence element. So are we going to have a traditional Life is Strange approach where we're going to have a solid, like, you know, they're going to solidly tell you what you want to do and that choice is going to have consequences? Or is it going to be a little more like Quantic Dream where, you know, where select people will be killed, basically? I feel like with Life is Strange, it's always been the case of kind of this option, A, B, and C dies. This option, D, E, and F dies. But I feel like with studios like Quantic Dream and such, it was always kind of as you go along, the minor choices you make would impact someone's fate. And I'm wondering, is that the approach they're going to go for? I'm wondering, like, you know, is it going to be little choices that impact who lives and dies? Or is it going to be straight up big choices? But the visuals are absolutely stunning. This scene I found interesting because Max is holding her rewind hand. I can't even say that word, rewind. So my prediction is that we're going to have like a repeat scenario of episode 2. Now, I know I keep saying repeat scenario a lot, and this is not me suggesting that Deck 9 is copying the original game, but I do think there is going to be a little subtle few ties and similarities to it just for the sake of kind of triggering the nostalgia. So that's the hand she rewinds with. So I have a theory she injures her hand and that's going to stop her powers. That's going to halt her powers. Similar to episode 2, Max froze time, went up to the roof to get Kate, and she had overused her power so much that she could no longer use it for the time being. And I think something similar is going to happen here. She's going to get like an injury to her hand, and that's going to stop the powers from coming true. Alternatively, maybe it's at the point now when she uses it, instead of the headaches that she gets, the pain is now in her hand. But obviously it looks like she's injured there, so I think one of those two scenarios are likely. We do see her touching the doors at the burning building a lot when she's trying to get to her students, so it's possible like maybe she grabs the handle and the handle is like scorching hot because obviously it's metal and the building's up in flames. So I don't know, I can really see it being a situation where she injures her hand and that's going to stop her powers, and that's going to lead us into the situation where we have to make a choice and there is absolutely no way to undo it. There's also that little scene with her camera. I can't explain that yet, but we do know that she drops it at some point. So, that scares me. It scares me. That I don't know why, but that camera shot scares me.
Everyone.
Help! Moses!
Okay, what I noticed about this one, and this is very interesting as well. So that photo she's jumping into it, by the way, slay. She looks fucking unreal in that photo. She looks at the photo and she's lying on the ground looking at that photo, and obviously the fire's there. So that's the photo she uses to get out of there. Now, I saw somewhere that, and I can't remember if it was a summary or whatever, but Max uses that photo to escape her and save herself. So people have been saying like, oh, like why would she use her powers again? She knows what the consequences are. Now the thing is though, obviously trailers can be manipulated in so many ways to make us think something else. But I think maybe using her powers again, she's doing it to save herself. Not necessarily because she wants to save the school, but because she's literally trapped. She's on her last legs. Like the lights are about to go out, and she does that to save herself. But in saving herself, she takes it upon herself to also save the people around her, you know? And when we see her get thrown backwards, like when that explosion happens, when she runs for Moses, I think this is the scene that follows. I think she instantly does that. I see other people saying as well, like, you know, Moses, like she knows her actions have consequences. Maybe this time it's different, and that annoyed a lot of people because they're like, Max knows very well her actions have consequences, but maybe, you know, the context of this time be different because she saved herself. She didn't save someone else. And as I said, in saving herself, she's automatically going to take it upon her to save everyone else, because she's hardly going to use her power to save herself and then watch it happen a few days later. Like, you know, it's freaking Max we're talking about. If she's going to try and stop it from happening, she's going to do it, you know? But I think it originally stemmed from her trying to save herself.
You bought us time. Time that we'll make the most of.
Loretta's back.
So many lives at stake. I need all the help I can get. Sophie?
In the flesh.
Now, have a look here. Like, you can actually see the damage of the scaffolding. So we do see a bit of a time jump after the fire takes place, because look at the roof scaffolding, look at the roof covering, the windows boarded up. That wouldn't have been done the next day. That would have been done over like a period of a couple of weeks maybe. So this shot here that we're seeing could be from one of the endings, or the ending, depending on how this game's going to go. One thing I'm very certain of is there is no way to stop this fire. Even though the marketing is just like, we have to prevent this fire, we have 3 days. I don't think anything's going to stop it. I think that at most it'll probably happen to a lesser extent, but it's not going to stop it completely. I think it's inevitable, to be honest. And we're just kind of changing the outcome of it, not actually changing it happening.
If you saw this campus burn down, then it means it was supposed to happen. Who are you?
I saw Yasmin, and the first thing that came to my head, now I need to do a bit of research into this because I can't remember if this is optional. I can't remember if Safi shooting her is optional. In the ending, she did mention it'd be months before she could use her arm again, and she looks totally grand there. So obviously, I could be just focusing on nothing here if that shooting was optional, because then obviously we're looking at the outcome where she wasn't shot. But I just found that interesting that she appears to have full motion of her arm back if the shooting was going to happen either way.
I know there are consequences to using your powers, but maybe this time is different?
Right when everything is falling into chaos.
Okay, so Max and Loretta are in the building that is on fire. So I think it's going to play out so differently, because if you look at, like, obviously we saw Max outside a few minutes ago, and now we actually see her in a burning building. So I reckon it's going to be like one of those things that, like, necessarily we're just going to be making the choice of where we're going to be when this happens.
Falling into chaos. She walks in like she heard her cue.
Legendary.
Chloe, how are you here?
Lots to discuss. Right now, I think we should run.
Chloe.
Just want to bring attention here. Now, I'm breaking my own rule when it comes to this type of stuff. Max is wearing the exact same outfit she's wearing at the fire in the beginning. So when she was at that fire running to Moses and Chloe, and she got thrown back and she jumped into the photo. That's the exact same outfit. Now, bear in mind, that last shot we just saw, she was in the fire and wearing a totally different outfit, but that could possibly indicate that the fire and reuniting with Chloe happened the exact same day. Possibly. The reason I say I'm breaking my own rule with this is because, again, trailers, especially video game trailers, can be manipulated so easy. It just it takes a simple change of file to make the characters wear a different outfit. They did it in episode 4, the trailer for episode 4, Dark Room. They had Max wearing one outfit in the trailer, but the outfit was different in the episode. So I'm looking at the outfits and I'm thinking to myself, she wore that earlier. She's wearing this earlier. But then I remember it could be changed with the click of a button. They can very easily manipulate that and fool us, you know? They probably know people like me exist, and I look into every minor detail.
Let's go, Max! I have memories of things that can't possibly be true.
I might be wrong, but Max... No, that's not Max. I might be wrong, but Chloe is lying in the same spot Safi did. And it looks like Safi is sitting up from that position. So it looks like Chloe morphed into Safi and then she sat up. And that's not Chloe's beanie, that's Safi's beanie. Because Chloe's beanie didn't have a fold. Safi's does. So I think there's going to be a morph that happens there. But again, bigger question, why is that happening? Hey, let's continue, shall we?
Max, did you do this? Your visions, the fire...
That's the main campus on fire.
We'll figure it all out.
This guy. I did what I do best, and I literally scanned this image. And obviously, who is he? That's one of, like, so definitely he's a Libraxis member. We see Max later on wearing that same mask and all, so it's definitely an Abraxas thing. Again, I don't know how these societies work. They don't exist where I live, so this is the most fictional thing ever for me. But yeah, who is he and why the hell is he holding a sledgehammer? But I have a theory of who it might be, and I'm going to point him out later in the trailer.
Wow.
Okay, and also this scene I found interesting too, because I think this is going to delve into Chloe's trauma a little bit, because she pushed him the exact same way she pushed Nathan Prescott in the first game. So I think we're going to get a few little kind of nods to what Chloe's experiencing.
Whatever comes next.
This is why I do this, because they have like quick little flashes that they think you won't notice, but then you have me, who is nosy, however. But take a look at this shot here. So for some reason, Max has particles going around her. I was going to say that is Max, because pink was kind of Max's signature colour because of the Jane Doe shirt. So if you were talking colours with Max and Chloe was always blue and Max was always pink. But just having a closer look now, the pink particles floating around her, that tells me it's Max. However, look at the hair length. The hair is crazy long and it's being worn down. So is there a chance that maybe, just maybe, Chloe could be seeing Rachel Amber? Obviously by Chloe's expression, she's seeing someone that like obviously she knows and is familiar with, but look at the long hair and the particles. At first I thought it was Max and I was questioning what the particles meant, but the long hair, I'm wondering, could it be Rachel? Could they actually delve back a little bit and give a nod to Rachel? Okay, this guy standing right next to Loretta. I cannot remember if he's in double exposure or not. I think that's the guy in the mask. I think that's him. I think we have a match, because I was looking at all the guys in the game, because I was looking at it and I was like, that has a build of a man. I think that's male. And one thing you could see clearly was that the person with the mask had no facial hair. And this guy, he has no facial hair and he has a very similar skin complexion as well. So I think if we're talking about who that guy in the mask is, I think it's this guy. Again, I badly need to revise on double exposure, but I can't remember if he's in it or not. And if he is, I cannot remember his name, but I think we found our masked figure. So this frame has me curious, because I want to know what the Chloe, Max and Safi thing is. There's clearly something a link, something connecting the three of them together, and I want to know what it is. So you can tell that this scene most likely takes place during the fire. The fire is probably to the right off screen. And Safi's looking pretty happy for someone who's standing next to an inferno. I'm just saying. So I'm curious to the context of this scene. I think it's definitely filmed next to the fire. And I think this is also a major hint that Safi is the arsonist. Bear in mind, remember I said that the fire could be started by one person with powers? And I know that doesn't make sense with Safi being a shapeshifter, but you did see her recruit diamonds in the last Life is Strange. So either Safi is the arsonist or Safi created a bit of an army that started the fire, you know? This scene is extremely pretty and reminded me of the lights in Before the Storm. Remember the lights that Chloe makes for Rachel? That's what it reminded me of. But I am struggling to make context of this scene, to be honest. What I did gather was, I'm pretty sure they're in the astrology building. And bear in mind, Max has the power to jump into photos. And we have 4 photos here with particles flying out of it. So there's obviously some method to our madness here. So I'm wondering, is this them trying to merge the timeline to how it is supposed to be? Or is this some way of preventing Max from using her powers again? I don't know. Maybe they're trying to merge the timeline together somehow, or maybe like they're taking different snapshots of the last few days and trying to form a timeline out of that. I don't know. I literally am stumped with that one. I have no explanation for what it could possibly be.
This isn't fair. You can't have come back to me just to end up here.
That scene is going to be my cause of death. My cause of death will literally be broken heart because of that scene. I can feel it. I can feel it. So obviously this is the fire. The fire is behind them. Now obviously this looks a lot like a Sacrifice Chloe decision. And I've seen a lot of people being like, oh, we're going to have to choose between Sacrifice Chloe and Sacrifice Caledon. I don't necessarily think so. I think at the most, I'm not sure that they would go all in with a rinse and repeat from literally the first game. But instead of a Sacrifice Chloe ending, I think that the decision, at least some of them at the end, will be having the option to put things back the way they were. It's not necessarily sacrificing Chloe where, like, you know, she dies or whatever. Like, I think that, like, you know, Max will have the option will be to restore the timeline to what it once was. And no matter what your choice was in the first game, Max is going to be without Chloe because Chloe's either passed away or she's doing her own thing. So I reckon, I can't see, and I personally hope it's not a case of choosing if Chloe lives or dies again, but I think most likely it's a situation where we just choose, like, do we fix the timeline or not? Do we go on with Chloe in this new, merged, a little bit messed up timeline? Or do we go back to where we were at the start of the game and Chloe and Max are apart? And it could branch off then to more extended endings. So, like, for example, if you chose a timeline where Chloe is dead, Max could go on with her life and do, like, her own thing, potentially, you know, get with Amanda, you know. If you chose to save Chloe, it could branch off with an extended ending. Okay, Max has another choice now. Does she want to do her own thing or does she want to reach out to Chloe? I will say as well, that closing lyric gave me chills. That, did we meet in a past life? That, like, I don't know what it was, but that, I heard that right away when I saw the trailer, and that gave me chills. Like, literally right down the spine chills. And thinking a little deeper, it kind of made me think, like, is that, like, kind of a little nod towards them finding each other again, you know? So, I don't think we're going to have to necessarily let Chloe go again. I think, like, probably our major decision will be restore the timeline or don't. And don't restore the timeline, things just continue on. Restore the timeline, we're back wherever we're supposed to be, and Chloe's wherever. And then we're going to branch into kind of our two endings that respect kind of the choices at the end of the first game. Does Max go on with her life because she sacrificed Chloe? Or does Max go on with her life but have the option to reach out to Chloe, and that could be another final decision for those of us who sacrificed Arcadia Bay. I have a really good example to illustrate my thoughts on this. So here's some spoilers for Beyond Two Souls if no one played it before. The end of Beyond Two Souls had a very similar decision to sacrifice Chloe, sacrifice Arcadia Bay, which was, did Jodie, the main character, want to choose life or death? They're in like the final boss battle and she had the opportunity to cross over to the other sides, and the player got to make that choice. So if you chose to cross over, she dies and the game ends with her passed away, and you see like kind of her loved ones, how they get on with their life after she's gone. However, if you chose to live, she survives the boss fight. We get a cutscene showing us where she is a few months later, and then we have one final decision, which is, where do you want to go? Do you want to reunite with this partner, that partner, this person, or do you want to just live on your own? So if you chose death, you more or less got one ending, but if you chose to live, you got 4 endings. And I think that might be the direction they're bringing this game in. But I feel like the overall message from this game is going to be like, you know, finding each other again, like finding their way back to each other if that's what they wanted, you know? So yeah, that's my little prediction. So what I'm most curious about is, I'm curious if that was Rachel. I think maybe we might get to see Rachel. So what did you guys think? Do you have any theories, or did we find something in the trailer that you didn't notice and you're kind of questioning it now? So final reminder, this is all for a bit of fun and discussion. Feel free to share your thoughts below. Please do not give anyone a hard time for what they think. At the end of the day, it's not that serious. We're just coming up with some theories, doing a little analysing, getting data for the bingo cards. So I am going to do a second video soon in the coming weeks with the reveal stream. But let me know what you think in the comments. Is there anything you noticed that I didn't? Did I point out anything that got you curious? What do you think was going to happen? What predictions are you guys putting on your bingo cards? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!